What's going on, guys? Today I'm back with another H.A.T format replay review for you guys. If you're interested in sending in your H.A.T format replays, you can go down to the video description and find all the information on how to go about sending those in. Anyways, the matchup I have for you today, we have Kodio, who is going to be on Scrap Hands, versus Ultra, who is going to be on Geargia Karakuri. Honestly, both of these decks are very cool. I know the last time I showed off the Scrap deck on the channel, a lot of people really enjoyed it, and personally, I am a big fan of Geargia Karakuri, so I have pretty high expectations for this video, but you know, hopefully it will be a good match, and the only way to really know for sure is to check it out. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And here it looks like Ultra is going to win the rock, paper, scissors and get to start this one out. Opening hands, we see Scrap Orthros, Fire Hand, Scrap Storm, Breakthrough Skill, and Scrap Chimera. And on the other side, we see Accelerator, Soul Charge Accelerator, MK2, and Geargia Gear. So in pretty alright hand here from Ultra, and also a pretty solid hand here from Kodio. I'll probably go over some of these Scrap cards again, as it has been a while once the game actually gets going. And anyways, here Ultra will get a draw for turn, getting a copy of Geargiano, which probably isn't the best card in this exact scenario, though. I mean, I guess in theory they could go for something like a rank 3 and a rank 4 if they really wanted to, but let's see how they choose to go and play this one out. There definitely is a lot of options, and it kind of almost is full combo in a sense, given they can go into a rank 4 or probably a Gear Gigant, get into Birdman, and then kind of start popping off a little bit. But let's see how they choose to play this one out. Here they're going to take a second to think, and they're going to start by normal summoning that copy of MK2 using the effect, and special summoning the Geargiano from hand. After that, they are going to special summon the copy of Accelerator, special the other Accelerator, and then go into Gear Gigant. So far it seems like they are kind of doing as I mentioned here, activating the Gear Gigant and picking up a copy of Birdman. And from here it looks like they are going to kind of start popping off, honestly, tributing the Geargiano for its effect to bring back that copy of Accelerator, then bouncing the copy of Accelerator to hand to special summon the copy of Birdman, and then from there they can special summon the Accelerator again, and then synchro into a copy of Beret, and then Beret's effect is going to trigger here to summon a copy of the Watchdog from deck, and then from there they're able to synchro again the MK2 and the Watchdog into another copy of Beret. And at this point, they are going to think, and yeah, the Birdman does get banished because it was special summoned with its effect here. But anyways, here it looks like are they not using the effect of this Beret? It's just, yeah, when this card synchro summon, you can special summon one Karakuri monster from your deck. And, you know, it would seem a little strange if they weren't on the Strategist, as usually the Geargia Karakuri deck does play like usually 1 to 2 Watchdog and then 1 to 2 copies of the Strategist, just so they can keep going. But here either they're choosing not to, or maybe they don't play it. I'm not entirely sure. So instead, it looks like they are going to go for a Soul Charge play instead, bringing out the Accelerator and the copy of Watchdog, and then from here synchro summoning into a copy of Beredo, and now using the effect. So they are on the Strategist. So I'm kind of curious why they didn't do this prior. Maybe I guess they just wanted their zones available if they were going to go for this, but at the same time, usually this deck is going to go for something like a Draco sack or just some other, you know, rank 7. So maybe there would have been a reason to like overlay these, or like use the effect, summon this out, and then overlay these or something. But I guess maybe if they just wanted their zones clear so they can do this and get the draw off Beret, that could possibly be the reason there, I would think. And so anyways, here the Strategist on summon is going to use its effect to switch itself to defense, and then the Beredo, because a Karakuri monster changed its battle position, Ultra will get a draw here, drawing into a copy of Arsenal. After that, it looks like a little bit of a misclick, oops, there, and then setting that copy of Geargia Gear and just passing. Yeah, again, seems a little strange to just leave it open like this. I guess I'm trying to think like what else they could have done, because if they didn't use the soul charge right, this wouldn't be on board. They could have gone for like use the effect, summon this out, go for a Draco sack or something, use the effect because there would be 2 zones available at that point, and then you could like synchro for a 6 or something. Sure, you wouldn't get the extra draw off that, but it just seems like using a soul charge so early on and not really going into anything else after. Like, even if you wanted to, you could have maybe like synchroed with the strategist here and one of the berets into, say, a copy of Leo if you are on it. Some builds are, some aren't. It really just depends. So there was definitely a lot of options. I feel like they definitely should have done more than just trying to get one random draw, especially given they had the Geargia gear and they had already gone through the MK2 and a Geargiano. So what if that draw had been something like an MK2? Sure, it would have been good, but in most cases that would have turned off the copy of Geargia gear. So it was kind of a bigger risk to go for that. I mean, I guess they could have got another trap or something as well, so maybe there's a reason to, but anyways, here it looks like Kodio drew a copy of Soul Charge, and from here they are going to start by just summoning a copy of Fire Hand and attacking into the Gear Gigant, and then using the effect to pop the copy of Beredo, and then special summoning a copy of Ice Hand. After that, again crashing the Ice Hand into the Gear Gigant, and using the effect, popping the copy of Geargia gear, and then summoning a copy of Fire Hand. From here, they're going to attack yet again into the copy of Gear Gigant, this time, thinking here, popping the copy of Gear Gigant, summoning an Ice Hand, and the Gear Gigant will miss timing here off of that Fire Hand trigger. And then in main phase 2, we're going to see Kodio just set one back row and pass it back over to Ultra, who gets a copy of Upstart for turn. So starting off for this turn, it seems Ultra is going to switch the strategist to attack and just go battle phase, attacking over the copy of Ice Hand here, which won't be able to float because Ultra doesn't have any back row here, and then attacking in with the Beret, attacking in with the Nisi-Pachi, and then main phase 2 just passing. So maybe they aren't on a rank 7 or something, or even a level 10 synchro, not even firing off the Upstart or anything, given, you know, they put Kodio on such low life that maybe they don't want to turn on a potential soul charge or something, given now they have, you know, several level 4s in graveyard, so it wouldn't necessarily make sense there, but not even, you know, trying to play into, say, something like a potential dark hole or something by normal summoning the arsenal, tributing it off, going for a copy of armor and setting that or anything. So really playing a bit more cautiously here, but at the same time playing it a little wide. And so anyways, here Kodio gets a draw for turn, getting a copy of Compulse, and let's see what they choose to do here. Taking a second to think here, they are going to normal summon the Scrap Chimera, and they won't be able to use the effect here that says, let me see, cannot be used as synchro material except for the synchro summon of a scrap monster, and all other monsters must be scrap monsters. And then when this card is normal summon, you can target a scrap tuner in your graveyard, special summon that target. So obviously they can't do that here, but they are able to use the scrap Orthros that says cannot be normal summoned or set and must first be special summoned from the hand while you control a scrap monster. If this is summoned this way, you can target a scrap monster you control, destroy that target. If this card is destroyed by a card effect, or if this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can target a scrap monster in your graveyard, except Orthros, add that target to your hand. So here they are special summoning that, and then attempting to use the effect to pop itself, but then chaining the copy of Scrap Storm that says target one scrap monster you control, send one scrap monster from your deck to the graveyard, then draw one card and destroy that monster. So going and destroying the Orthros before it destroys itself, and sending a copy of Scrap Chimera, and then getting a draw here, getting a copy of Terraforming, and then from here the Orthros is going to trigger. Let me just double check the wording on this. If this card is destroyed by a card effect, so it is an if effect, so it's not going to miss timing or anything here, using that to add back that copy of Scrap Chimera that they had just sent, and then from here activating Terraforming, picking up a copy of Scrap Factory, which is a very strong card. It says all scrap monsters gain 200 attack and defense. When a face-up scrap monster on the field is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon one scrap monster from your deck, and you can only use the effect once per turn. So here, going and activating Soul Charge, given they didn't go into the battle phase this turn, and just going and bringing out that copy of Scrap Orthros. Again, it must first be special summoned from the hand, which it already was, meaning that now it can be special summoned with the Soul Charge here. Kodio is getting very low on life, so let's see what they're going to choose to do, going and synchro summoning for a copy of Scrap Dragon, and then activating the Scrap Factory using the effect and targeting, I believe it's Self, to pop the copy of H.A.T here, the Strategist, and then from here, the Factory will trigger. Again, when a face-up Scrap monster in the field is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Scrap monster from your deck. So going and activating that, going for a copy of Golem, and then from here Golem can trigger to bring back the copy of Scrap Orthros. And real quick, I want to just double check this: when this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card. Okay, so Scrap Dragon won't get the secondary effect because it was destroyed by Kodio's own card, but anyways, here going for that Orthros and then synchro summoning into a copy of Scrap Twin Dragon, a very cool card. This card, it needs a Scrap Tuner plus one or more non-tuner monsters, and it is, I believe, a 9 there. So the level 5 Scrap Golem as well as the level 4 Tuner in Orthros. And this card says once per turn, you can target one card you control and 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy the one you control, and if you do, return the others your opponent controls to the hand. If this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to your graveyard, target one non-synchro Scrap monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So a very powerful card, using that effect, getting rid of the Factory and bouncing the double berets before setting the copy of Compulse and passing it over to Ultra, who gets a copy of Bottomless. They only need to do 300 damage, but you know, right now that is a bit of an ask, playing through a Compulse as well as just this really big Scrap Twin Dragon and a breakthrough skill. Let's see if they can do it. Activating Upstart, drawing into a copy of the Watchdog, which does show that that means they are on 2 copies of the Watchdog here. And then from here, let's see, they might have to just play it slow, normal summoning the copy of Arsenal, and that is going to be met with breakthrough skill right away, setting that copy of Bottomless, and then back over to Kodio, who gets another copy of Firehand, and normal summoning the copy of Chimera. That is going to be met with the copy of Bottomless, but it still will be able to trigger, summoning out that copy of Orthros. Going to battle phase, Scrap Twin is going to run over the Arsenal, and then Orthros can just attack in for 17, and Kodio will pass over to Ultra, who gets a copy of Geargia Gear, and that is not going to be enough here. So it's setting the copy of Geargia Gear, setting the copy of Watchdog, and actually, wait, they still should have 2 targets, right? Because they just have the one MK2 and the one Geargiano, and yeah, so actually this is going to be live, so that could potentially stall out a little bit if need be. So let's see, Kodio draws into a copy of Mermail, so they are on Trap Tricks as well, and here we are going to see the Scrap Twin activate, and yeah, Ultra is just going to scoop that one up. If they hadn't set one of the cards, then maybe they would have had a little bit of a chance, but at the same time, they were probably, you know, dead to that anyways if they didn't set one of them. So, you know, very nicely played there from Kodio. And yeah, I think Ultra definitely had a few other plays on that turn 1. But anyways, let's keep going. You guys can let me know what you think in the comment section. This time Ultra will get to start this one out yet again. Opening hands, we see Scrap Chimera, Warning, Orthros, Scrap Storm, and Soul Charge. And on the other side, we see Arsenal, Book of Moon, Trap Stun, Geargia Gear, and Max C. So a very strong hand here from Ultra, a bit less of the Karakuri side of things and more so just the Geargia stuff. And obviously having Max C against the Scrap deck would probably be pretty good, as well as the Book of Moon, honestly, to flip something so they can't keep synchroing or anything. And having Geargia Gear in general is always good. But anyways, here drawing into a copy of Warning, so just another great card for their opening hand. Normal summoning that copy of Arsenal, using the effect, tributing it off, and going for Armor. Then Armor can use its effect to flip itself face down, setting 4 back row, and over to Kodio, who gets a copy of Scrap Goblin here. Goblin says cannot be destroyed by battle at the end of the battle phase. If this face-up defense position card is targeted for an attack, destroy this card. If this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can target one scrap monster in your graveyard except Scrap Goblin, add it to your hand, and it is a level 3 tuner, which is always nice. So here, it looks like Kodio is going to go and just summon that copy of Scrap Goblin, special summoning the Orthros, using the effect to pop the Goblin, chaining the Scrap Storm to go after that copy of Goblin, here sending a copy of Chimera, drawing into a Fire Hand, and then the Goblin will activate on a new chain, being able to add back that copy of Chimera. And let's see what they choose to do after this. They don't really have much. So here, just setting the copy of Warning and going to end phase where Ultra is going to go and use that copy of Geargia gear, going and summoning a MK2 and Geargiano. Both of them will be level 4s. And here Ultra gets a copy of Soul Drain, which is a very good card, honestly, against both the hands and the scrap cards. Flipping up that copy of Armor, using the effect and grabbing a copy of Accelerator, and then overlaying into a copy of Geargigan X. Again, these are level 4s because they were summoned off of Geargia gear. And then here we are going to see Kodio using that copy of Warning here, just shutting down that copy of Geargigant. After that, we will see the Arsenal coming down and being special summoned, overlaying into another copy of Geargigan X, this time being able to resolve, activating its effect, and picking up a copy of Arsenal. From here, normal summoning the copy of Arsenal because they had not normal summoned this turn, and just going to battle phase, running over the Orthros, and then attacking in with the Arsenal for 17 before setting that copy of Soul Drain, and it looks like using the copy of Arsenal here, which I guess they haven't used this turn either, being able to tribute it off and just kind of get another defensive armor, which can use its effect and flip itself face down, over to Kodio, who gets a copy of Dionea, which isn't the greatest card, but they do have the Chimeras if they want to do that, or a Fire Hand to start going in. But here it looks like they are just going to normal summon the Chimera and use the effect going after the Orthros. Ultra is going to chain that copy of Maxi and get a draw here, drawing into a copy of Fiendish Chain, and then from there we are going to see Kodio going into a copy of Exiton. Ultra gets a copy of DD Crow, and I'm kind of curious why they didn't use the Warning here. Yeah, no, I think Warning would have been the move here. Oh, it looks like maybe they are going to do that, which if this is a friendly game, then you probably don't care too much about it. Maybe they just kind of drew a little preemptively there because they saw the material overlay, not necessarily because they saw what card they drew and realized Warning is probably better. So don't take it that way. Here it looks like they are going to go and actually Warning it, and then, yeah, they said to just at least shuffle the deck, which they are going to do. And from here, it looks like Kodio is just going to scoop it up. They were definitely behind. Ultra had such a strong hand and just great follow-up. So moving on into a game number 3, we will get to see Kodio start this one out. Opening hands, we see Ice Hand, Fire Hand, Compulse, Fiendish Chain, and Soul Charge. So not much of the scrap deck and more so just kind of hand control. And on the other side, we see Mind Control, Geargia Gear, Fiendish Chain, Book of Moon, and Fiendish Chain. So again, just a hand with Geargia Gear always feels good, and a bit of a grindy matchup, I would assume, given, you know, how many traps we see there. And here Kodio will get a copy of Torrential, so really just playing it slow with the hands, setting the copy of Fire Hand and a lot of back row here before passing it over to Ultra, who gets a copy of Accelerator. So not necessarily the best card, but it looks like they are going to run it out right away, and I guess that does make sense, going and activate or summoning it and activating the Mind Control to try to take the Fire Hand, which, I mean, they didn't know what it was, but it would be assumed that it probably was a hand, or in a lot of cases, usually a level 4. And we are going to see Kodio actually go and compulse it here. So bouncing the Fire Hand back so that the Mind Control will not be able to take it, and, you know, Ultra potentially going into a rank 4. There might have been an argument to Mind Control before summoning the copy of Accelerator, but then at that rate, you run the risk of actually losing the copy of Accelerator if you were to then summon it and overlay, because then the Compulse gets rid of the extra deck monster and you have no body on board. So actually playing it pretty solidly there, because now they can go to battle phase and try to swing in for some damage, which will connect, and then in main phase, phase 2, setting all of the back row and over to Kodio, who gets a copy of Chalice. And here they are now going to go and run out that copy of Ice Hand, summoning it and trying to poke in, but we do know that Ultra has that copy of Fiendish Chain, so shutting that down right away before going to main phase 2, setting the copy of Chalice and back over to Ultra, who gets a copy of Geargia gear. And now that I'm thinking about it, they didn't even fire this off. They didn't like use it in end phase or anything like that. So I'm kind of wondering what the reasoning behind that is, because, you know, now you just drew another one. And here we are going to see the copy of Geargia gear activated now in Ultra's own turn, summoning the copy of Geargiano and the MK2, but now we are seeing that copy of Torrential just clearing everything. So I guess it kind of does go back to what I had mentioned before about if they had done it in end phase, maybe that would have changed something. I guess looking at their hand, it might not have. I think it kind of has the same effect here, but anyways, we will see the copy of Accelerator picking back up the copy of MK2, which will be normal summoned, and that is going to be met with Chalice here. So just going to battle phase and attacking in. I guess there also could have been a reason to maybe chain the Book of Moon so that this would be set and then they would still get another body on board. Not to mention that this does gain that effect to special summon a Geargia from hand or graveyard when it is flip summoned. So there is that thing that maybe on the next turn you could flip it up potentially. So there is that as well. But here it looks like just going and poking in, trying to get as much damage as possible before setting the other copy of Geargia gear and back over to Kodio, who gets a copy of Terraforming. From here, just normal summoning Firehand, attacking in, and that is going to clear the MK2 here, main phase 2, activating Terraforming and picking up that copy of Scrap Factory, which isn't going to do too much here. And then in end phase, we will see Ultra now activating the second copy of Geargia gear, getting the MK2 and the MK2 out of deck, and then drawing for turn, getting a copy of Arsenal. So now Ultra definitely has a lot of gas going for them here. So let's see if they can take advantage of that. Going to main phase, overlaying right into a copy of Geargigan, using the effect, and that is going to be met with Fiendish Chain. And so now Ultra taking some extra time to think, and they are going to use the Book of Moon now. So still getting the search, getting the copy of Accelerator. And from here, they are going to normal summon the copy of Arsenal, special the copy of Accelerator here, and overlay into a black ship using the effect to clear the Firehand. And then from there, Kodio takes some damage, flipping up the Geargia. They just summoned this, right? Or was that summoned the last turn? They used the... No, this was just summoned. They can't go and attack there. Hopefully they do catch that, because that is a big thing there. Taking the damage here, and no, they allowed it. How strange, because yeah, no, they had just summoned that this turn, and then, yeah, because they summoned it, used the effect to try to use it. The Fiendish Chain was activated, Book of Moon. So yeah, that definitely should not be able to flip up there because it was summoned this turn. It doesn't matter that it didn't attack yet at the time. It was just that it was summoned this turn, so you can't switch it the same turn it is. But anyways, here Kodio gets a copy of Beautiful Princess, which is actually very funny to see in the scrap deck. I remember back in the day they used to play this because it would get the Scrap Shark out of deck, which is kind of funny because this card, when it is normal or special summon, you can banish this card and special summon a level 4 lower fish type monster from your deck except itself. And so the Scrap Shark is a fish monster, which is kind of funny. But anyways, here normal summoning the copy of Beautiful Princess using the effect, and there is the copy of Scrap Shark that I mentioned. It says when an effect monster's effect or a spell or trap is activated, destroy this face-up card on the field. And then if this card is destroyed by a card effect of a scrap and sent to the graveyard, you can send a scrap monster from your deck to the graveyard. So here, it looks like Scrap Factory is going to be activated. Shark will then be triggering to destroy itself. And now we will see both the Shark and the copy of Factory triggering. Let me just double check here again when a scrap monster on the field is destroyed by a card effect. And then this is if this card is destroyed by a card effect, so I believe both of those should be able to trigger here. Going for the Golem, sending a copy of Beast, and then Golem is going to attempt to activate, and it looks like that is going to be met with Ultra's copy of Fiendish Chain, and then from there the Soul Charge is going to come down from Kodio, leaving them only at 900, but going for the copy of Scrap Beast, so we are probably going to see that Scrap Twin Dragon come down, which we are using the effect and getting rid of the Fiendish Chain to bounce both the Black Ship and the Geargia here. And let's see, is your Fiendish supposed to stay on field after I book? Yeah, so Fiendish does stay on board because it's similar to, you know, the monster, how it didn't leave the or it didn't get destroyed or whatever. So similar to if you had used it as Xyz material, this will stay. And so here, getting rid of that. And then after that, we are going to see the Geargia triggering here because it left the field and going and summoning that copy of Geargiano. And then from here, Kodio is just going to pass. Ultra gets a copy of Trap Stun, which isn't going to do too much here, using the copy of Geargiano, tributing it off to go for a copy of Accelerator and setting that copy of Trap Stun. At bare minimum, if they do out this, then, you know, they can pick up, you know, probably a copy of like MK2 or something like that if need be. But at the same time, this copy of Scrap Twin can just bounce stuff. So here, let's see, Kodio draws a copy of Ice Hand, and they are going to use the Scrap Twin going after itself and the Accelerator and back row. So getting rid of those, and this destroys, right? Let me just double check. Sorry that I have to keep doing this. I'm not super familiar with all these cards, as it has been a while since I took a look at it. But once per turn, target one card you control and to destroy the one you control. Okay, and then if this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponents. So they're just getting the copy of Factory here, summoning out another copy of the Golem. Golem can then bring back the Beast, and then from here, going to battle phase and attacking in with both. Quite a lot of damage is going to be done here. Main phase 2, setting that copy of Ice Hand, and back over to Ultra, who now gets a copy of Max C. That probably would have been good a little bit before, but let's see if they can do anything. Not really, just setting the copy of Accelerator and the Trap Stun again. Here, Kodio draws a copy of Scrap Chimera, which is just perfect. Such a good card, going and flipping up the copy of Ice Hand, and then synchroing here for a copy of Stardust. Okay, and let me just double check that, because the Beast, this one can be used for a synchro material, right? Because I know the Orthros has to be a scrap. Destroy if this card is destroyed. Okay, so yeah, they can do this here using the copy of Golem, and it looks like Ultra is going to chain that copy of Max C. Here, the Scrap Beast, this special summon, and Ultra gets a copy of Geargia Gear. Going to battle phase, Golem is going to get over the Accelerator, and Ultra is just going to scoop it up there. Honestly, very surprising that Kodio could do so much with so little life. Really, Ultra just needed like one good card to get out of that, like a Soul Charge or something would have done wonders. But honestly, a pretty interesting match. I know there was a little bit of scuffness throughout that. Usually, you know, a lot of times with some of these older matches and stuff, there is going to be some things like that, you know, through practice and stuff that you will see. So, you know, no hate to the players in the comment section or anything like that. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. Comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out. Share this video with your friends. And don't forget to go down to the video description to find out how you can send in your hat format replays. Whether you won or lost, if you thought the deck you or your opponent played was pretty cool, feel free to send that in. I'm sure a lot of people would love to see it. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.